Uh, uh, this thing do look kind of funny. Y'all can hear me loud and clear. Cool. I ain't got no background music. Uh, for everybody, but you know, anybody need a background? How they got the call waiting music. Anybody need any music while we wait on people to chime in on the call? Any recommendations? Uh, Somebody threw in a recommendation. From Larry June, huh? Said that ain't no one candle. I was thinking that just the the Kendrick in the background, just because, right? Like, why not? Yo, what's good? Hello, everyone. Uh, so if you're new here, I like to give people like 2 minutes. I like to give people 5 minutes. So we start about 5, 6 minutes after the time. Give people time to get on, hop on, grab your notepad, uh, grab your water. This gonna be perfect for you newbies that's new to the group, new to trading, new to the strat, struggling with the strat, not new to trading, but still need some clarification. Trust me, this class is gonna be for y'all. Um, so yeah, make sure y'all tuned in. Um, but yeah, give it a couple minutes, let people get on. Class starting to fill up fast. I got to get better with my flyers. My VA shoe is nice, but I was like, man, I could do this myself. Welcome, Antonio, Lindsay on here. A lot of new faces on this call. Well, a lot of new names. So that's good that y'all showed up because I think this class is going to help. I don't know if I'm gonna do a Q&A, and I'm gonna try not to pay attention. This isn't like the typical weekly class where like we chart, go over plays, ask questions. I'm more so about to dive deeper into like the candle types. So maybe I'm not sure, but I'm gonna try my hardest not to pay attention to the chat because I don't want to get thrown off. I get easily distracted because I'll be going and then I look at y'all questions and then I answer it and then I get out my groove. So, but maybe we'll see how this goes. Dang, my boy Harry got a question. We ain't started class yet. Nah, that's probably an accident, I'm guessing, right? Or Just hold on. Let's save. Let me give it one more minute. And then no, I feel you, Harry. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, one more minute, and then we about to get going. Make sure you got your notebooks. I'm about to turn this music off. And no, this isn't like I'm not reviewing plays right now. Not like plays that we in. I'm gonna bring up the charts to be showing like examples and stuff like that, but I'm not, this isn't like a play review. This isn't like, can we chart this and that? Like, it's not one of those classes. So yeah, so it's time to get going. So uh welcome to Strat Candle type class. All right. So uh the reason I'm doing this class is because over time I've had people ask me like, okay, there's two ways I want to attack this. So some people, they will dive into the content and the education and they still need some clarity. Like they be like, I get it, but I still kind of need some clarity on the candlesticks, like what they mean, blah, blah, blah. Cool, right? And let's just be honest, there's some people that just go like this. Wait, can y'all see my screen? Y'all see my screen? I just want to make sure. All right, cool, cool. All right. So then you got some people, right, that do this. And you know me and my rants, I gotta call y'all out sometimes. But sometimes y'all, some people would do this, right? They'd be like, they'd be like this. They like, man, I don't know what this is. So then you'll come back in my DMs and be like, man, I don't know, I still don't get it. And it's like, well, I like, you know, if you actually like read or at least tried to understand versus like you didn't understand at all. You know what I mean? And so first off, like, don't try to cut any corners. Like, really just be honest with yourself and put in the time, put in the work. You know what I mean? It's like you get out what you put in. So, however, I was like, let me not be, a jerk off. Let me do a video explanation of all of this. And I'm probably just gonna put the video in this Strat Candle Types channel. And so I said, let me do a live class and a video version of breaking down pretty much what this flyer says. So I want to break down each candle type, right? A one, a two, a three, an inside bar, what's an outside bar, what's a hammer, what's the importance of it, what does a shooter mean, what does a fail two down versus a fail two up, where would an entry be on each one of those candles? Like, I'm really gonna do my best to dive into every single one of these candles, what they mean, what the bodies mean, XYZ, XYZ, right? Then, so hopefully in the future, if anybody has this question, I'm be like, nah, I know you ain't watch the video if you don't get it. Cause I know, I'm gonna be real, I do a damn good job of teaching and breaking stuff down. And that's why I think a lot of people enjoy the Zooms and stuff like that because I could teach my butt off, in the way I explain things. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. So for those that are new, once again, we trade the strat. The strat was created by Rob Smith. All right. He passed away last year. Rest in peace to him. But in my opinion, I believe the strat is the most simplified, most easiest concept to grasp when it comes to not just trading options, but pure price action. And what I mean by that is like no squiggly lines, no moving averages, no extra on your charts. I mean, like, just the candlesticks. Now, obviously, when you see the charts, you're like, well, dang, what are those numbers? What do they mean? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, let's break it down. So, one last announcement real quick. I'm supposed to be receiving an important package in the next 2 hours. So what I might have to do is mute you guys, send my son downstairs to go get it. So just bear with me if I have to do that. I couldn't really I couldn't schedule it for no other time. So, but anyway, let's dive into these candle types. All right. So, um, so we'll start with the one. All right. Let me see. Feel like I'm missing something. Hold on real quick. Let me double check something real quick. All right. So the one bar, AKA an actionable signal, right? So if you guys peep my plays, right? All of my plays are usually in here. 9 times out of 10, my plays consist of, you'll see these inside bars, right? These yellow bars. Now, the reason why they're yellow is just because that's just the default color for the indicators for the strat. So like when you come into the group, right? And I tell you guys, like, this is how you add, when you add strat assistant indicator on your trading view, the default color for an inside bar is yellow. For the 2 ups and 2 downs, you have green and red. And then for the outside bars, they're usually purple. Okay. And I'm gonna dive into that more too. Excuse me. So when you guys see my plays, and you see yellow bar after yellow bar after yellow, you're like, dang, all his plays be coming off the yellow bars. Like, why does he like them so much? Well, the thing is, these inside bars, let me go back to it right now. These inside bars are consolidation bars, which means the reason why they're called inside is because they're literally stayed inside of the range of the previous bar. So it did not take out the high of the previous bar. It did not take out the low of the previous bar. It stayed inside of the range of the previous candle. Therefore, it consolidated. Didn't go too far up, didn't go too far down, consolidated. Okay. Now, the other thing that you'll notice is if we can, we really shoot for multiple consolidation bars. And that's why when you go here, right, when you look at my favorite setups right here, if y'all have ever clicked this, you'll see I like double and triple the consolidation on like a 4 hour, a daily, a weekly. If you guys ever notice, I don't, it's very rare that my setups consist of anything off of a 1 hour time frame, right? My stuff is usually 4 hour and up. Why? Well, kind of like what I just said. The more consolidation, the better. If something has just been ranging for 15, and real quick, as a disclaimer, I'm not saying do not use the 15 or the 30 or the hour. I'm not saying don't use that, because there are people that do. I'm saying for my specific style of trading, if something has just been consolidating for like 15 minutes, I'm not really tripping off of that. Like, because the move after that may not be as explosive as as a price consolidating for 4 hours, which is half of the trading day, or something that's been consolidating for multiple days or a couple of weeks. You get what I'm saying? Um, so I'm actually about to put this link inside of the Instagram channel as well. Sorry, I just realized that. So, all right, there we go. All right, so again, the more consolidation, the bigger the move. If you guys remember, let's go to Tesla real quick, right? So Tesla on the, trying to think, was it a monthly candle? Was it quarterly? Or was it 6 month? Well, actually, we can take this for a small example, right? So this is a 6 month candle, but look at this. This inside bar right here, okay, you see it did not, it almost did, but it didn't take out the low of this green candle here. It also did not take out the high, okay? And if that's hard for you to see, I'll just mark it out right here. All right, so if you look at this, it almost got to the low of that, but it still stayed inside the range. But think about it like this. This candle, this is a 6 month candle. This means price consolidated within this 6 months, which means it stayed within the range of the last 6 months. But look what happened once it finally broke out. It took out this low, and I'll get into, the entries and all in a second. But once it finally took out this low, it went from 225 as low as 108. That's over $100 worth of movement. Again, this proves what I'm saying. The more consolidation, like the bigger the move. Let's go to let me show you guys another one. I'm just giving examples, and I'm gonna go back and speak on those inside bars. But remember right here. Y'all remember when we killed Meta like last month? I mean, we really took off with this one. So the original setup was off of a failed 2-up candle, which I'll get into later. But look at these two bars right here. These are 2-week candles, okay? My time frames are right up here. These are 2-week candles. So this candle consists of 2 weeks worth of price action. It stayed inside of this, the 2 week before that, okay? So the next 2 weeks after this even stayed inside of the 2 weeks prior. So the beginning of May, consolidated. Then we got to the end of May, consolidated. So that tells me right there, I said, okay, if this thing done consolidated pretty much for 4 weeks within a range, once we pick a high or a low to take out, and at the time we were looking bullish. We called this out from 468 and rode it all the way past 500. But once this finally breaks out and picks a side, which at the time we were looking for it to go bullish, is going to run. Okay. So what happened was when you look at the next 2 week candle over the next 2 weeks after this one closed, look what it did. Took out this high and look, it ran from 469 to where we're at right now, like 530, 540. But at the time, we took it past 500. So look at the range between here, right? We'll take this high and then I'll take like this low, right? So we went from, let me see, it consolidated from say 453 to 481, right? So about $30 worth, right? And then once we finally took off, price opened up right here, right? 470. And then since then, look what we've gotten so far. That's what, 60, $70 worth of moves. And it consolidated around $30. So do you kind of get where I'm going, right? The more consolidation, the bigger the move. Now, is that like 100% probable? No, because if it was, trust me, like we all in this call would be rich and it would be easy. But you get my point. The more consolidation, the bigger the move. So an inside bar, once again, it stays within range of the previous bar. That's pretty self-explanatory. And when you add this indicator, and I've already, for those that don't know how to add it, it's already in your how to get started channel. I have a video breaking down how to add that, so I'm not going to do all that. But the default, so when you see these yellow bars, you know I'm looking for the stock to break out. Okay, I'll give you guys something that I'm looking at right now, and I wish I would have got this in a little earlier, but it kind of like fell off my radar. But if you look at J&J, Johnson and Johnson, on the monthly, look, we got triple inside day right now. I mean, triple inside month. Okay, I also got a trend line going. This is some other sauce I'll get to another time. But if you notice, it's been bouncing off this level and it's been doing this for 3 months. All right, that got my attention because I'm like, okay, if this J&J takes out the high, we're in this is a July candle. If July takes out the high of June, this thing could possibly give us a big move, right? So you know to buy time because this is coming off of a monthly trigger. So you want to buy time for this thing to actually make its move. And it's looking like it's getting ready to go 2 up. So, but once again, inside candle, stay within the high of April, within the low of April. This candle, stay within the high and low of May, so on and so forth. Okay, so pretty self-explanatory. Again, so now you ask, where would I take entry? Okay. So let me just bring up the combos. Draw a blank. Oh, here we go, right here. Y'all follow me so far? Y'all can hear me? Y'all follow me so far? Somebody said they couldn't hear me. Oh, okay, okay. What they was talking about. All right. So when you see this, right? So you'd be like, all right, he be saying, or Kev says, enter, above this or below that, right? Self-explanatory, right? You see this right here? This is why I put it in the how to get started. So run through these. The entry, say for a 212 bullish continuation, right? You see this one? It's above the high of the inside bar for a bullish continuation or even a bullish reversal, meaning to the upside, you take the high of the one. And it's the most recent one, right? Because let me go back real quick because I know that can get confusing too. Some people ask, well, which one are we taking the break of? You're taking it off the most recent one. So make sure you're paying attention to what's current and what's recent. Some people will think, like, well, do I take it off of this? Well, no, you can't take it off this because this is the current month we're in. So you wouldn't be able to take anything off of this until the next month. This is the current month, July. So that's why I said my entry would be off the high of June's candle. Okay. So just to enlarge it. All right. So if I'm looking to take this trade to the upside, you would take it off once it breaks this high of this inside bar right here. Then I would get into calls to the upside. Okay. So when you see multiple consolidating bars, you're taking your entry off the most recent closed bar. All right. Um, so that's it. So yeah. All right. Same to the downside. Okay. Let me find a bearish. Here you go, right here. Inside bar, right? Stay within range of this previous bar. All right. So my entry for puts, if I were to take puts on this, would be the low of this candle. Even if it had four different, I mean, even if it had four inside bars before it consecutively, I'm taking the most recent break. So when this goes down and it took this, that's your entry, the break of the most recent inside bar. Okay. Um, Now, the other thing that I want to speak on is its significance. So let me just make sure that you guys understand that. So like when you see what I just showed you was a 3-1-2, I believe it was a reversal. Or no, this was a continuation. We see 3-1-2, just like right here on the sheet that everybody should have down by now. They're showing a reversal and not a continuation, but this is the same thing. This would be a continuation because it's all bearish, right? Um, so you got the 3-1-2 entry here, went two down. All right. Now, the other thing is this. So when you go to the strat, again, when you guys, please, if you're new, make sure to really go through these channels. I've outlined them in the how to get started. I tell you exactly where you should start, right? I tell you, go to this channel and run through these and learn this strat. If you don't feel like it, that's on you. But everything that I'm kind of going over is right there for you. I can't press the buttons for you. But when you go to actionable signals and you go to inside bars. Actionable signals are what make up are is one of three components that make up the strat, if you will, right? So when you're learning the strat, they have something called universal truths, right? Rob Smith came up with this. Actionable signals, full time frame continuity, broad informations, right? So the actionable signals, when you see an inside bar, that like should light you up. That should get your attention. Like, oh shoot, actionable signal. You get what I'm saying? Now, of course, if you got actionable signals plus your full time frame continuity, right, you should be looking good. But when I see these, that's why you guys see me label them so much in my plays. Like I said, 99% of my plays is coming off of consolidation. There's a reason why they're part of the quote unquote universal truths because they're so important, right? The more consolidation, you're gonna get like a crazy move. Okay. So when I see this, not only does it have my attention because it's consolidating, but I know this is important because this is a universal truth. The one of three components that make up the strat. Okay. So, um, so what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So I want to make sure that I'm clear on those inside bars. Now I want to go over the different types of the one candles or the inside bars, right? So I'm gonna go back to actionable signals. So not only can you have an inside bar, but you could have something called an inside hammer. All right. So these are what hammers look like. And they're not always inside bars, But I'm just telling you how you can have even more confirmation that price could be going to the upside. So you can have an inside bar and you can have a hammer looking inside bar. So a hammer is where the lower wick is at least twice the size of the body of the candle. Okay. So you have more wick than body. And then a green one, even better because it's bullish. Okay. And what that means, so if you look at this, basically, you can look at here. If price started off bullish or bearish, right? Bears or sellers, however you want to label it, if they can push price all the way down here, but as long as price closes within this part of the candle's range, and I'm gonna show you on the chart, then that is considered a hammer. Now you do have to wait until it closes. I'll show you right now on the chart. Was it Dell? I think has a hammer. Sorry, hold on. What was I on? The daily on Dell? Dell had a hammer. Oh yeah, yeah. All right, so here you go. So if you look at Dell, you see price open right here. For those that don't know, simple candle anatomy, bearish candles start at the top and go down. Bullish candles start at the bottom and go up, right? So this start off bearish, pushed all the way down here, right? It also went as high as up here, but it closed right here within its range. So this would be considered a hammer. Let me see if I could find I think Amazon. Did Amazon have the hammer? Yep. And what will happen for the most part, your strat assistant indicator will label a hammer down there. Whatever time frame you're on, if it's a hammer, it'll label it down there. Sometimes it may not label it, but you can identify, like you can look at that and tell it's a hammer. All right. So when I see something like this, I'm like, oh, this is somewhat of a bullish indication that we can go to the upside. All right. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. What I prefer is a hammer that's outlined in green. Okay. So what I mean is like if it's a green hammer, I prefer that versus a bearish one. Because yes, this is still a hammer. Yes, this is still an actionable signal, but I would rather the Bulls to have full control. And what I mean by that is for the Bulls to actually have pushed above where it opened at. And I'm gonna go into that when I start talking about the two ups and two down candles. But this is still a hammer. So it's still an indication that we could reverse. However, for me to have more like influence and more confidence in it, I prefer this to be bullish. So like this body would be green. All right. Um, hold on real quick. Oops. Okay, no, I just had to check some. Um, all right, so I'm trying to find a bullish hammer for you. Oh, here go one right here. All right. See, this is why I say I prefer the bullish ones because if you look at this, it's outlined in green. So if you have a green wick and it's a hammer, even better because again, it's more of a sign of a reversal. And you see what happened after this hammer? We went to the upside. Now, what I was getting at when I was talking about inside bars are you have your inside bar, which is an actionable signal, like we went over, right? But if you have an inside bar and it's a hammer, now you got stacked actionable signals because one actionable signal is an inside bar. Another actionable signal is having a hammer, right? So if you got double the confirmation, double the power, it makes all the sense in the world for this to go up. Now, again, nothing is 100% guaranteed. I've seen inside hammers and it just not work out, right? Like you can't, they're not going to make it that easy. But, when you think about high probability, these are the type of setups that I would take, right? Like I said, when you go here, when you look at some of my plays, um, one of these I was just eyeing for you guys, like a hammer. Where was it at? Like I want to say Carvana. Carvana. This is somebody. This few people hit on Carvana. Shout out to Jess. She hit like over 500% on Carvana. I gave you guys this on Sunday, right before the week has started. Right. Look at this weekly candle. Granted, yes, it is blue, so it was bearish, but we ended with an actionable signal. We had inside bar, okay, inside bar. Then on top of the inside, oops, damn, what just happened? Hold on real quick. I just lost where I was at. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Inside bar on the weekly. So that's another thing. Higher time frame. We consolidated for a whole week. Remember, the more consolidation, the better. I don't need 15 minutes. I don't need 30 minutes. I need like 4 hours. I need multiple days. I need weeks. I need a month worth of consolidation. Because once we take it, it's going to pop. So when you see this inside bar on the weekly and it's a hammer, we got our two. So we got our inside bar, we got our other actionable signal, which is a hammer. And then let's go see. So the break of this, even though I broke it down into multiple entries that you could have got in on, let's see where Carvana, and I think they got news today too. They got an upgrade or something like that. Carvana. So if we go check the weekly candle, right? So this was the hammer that last week closed on. Okay. Um, what? Y'all can hear me clear? Why people saying I'm breaking up? Okay. Y'all can hear me clear? All right. All right. I'm just making sure. All right. So look, once we took out this high right here, whatever I had labeled in the place channel, look how high we've went so far. We went to 136. And not only that, look at where I said I was aiming for on Carvana. We had back-to-back 2-day hammers that bounced from some fair value gaps. And I said the aim was previous week's high, 136.92. Well, we didn't quite, no, wait, 136.92. We almost got there. We ran a 136.61 and some change, right? Still a heck of a trade. Um, but again, this is just showing the power of the inside bars. We consolidated for a whole week. And then it's also showing the power of stacked actionable signals. One actionable signal, inside bar. Second actionable signal is a hammer. And then you see what happened. Um, so yeah, I think you guys follow me from there. So, all right. So let me go more into, so let me go to the next one. So we went over inside bars. All right. Now let me go over the twos because I have had people actually ask me, like, what's the two up? What's the two down? You feel what I'm saying? So the two bars are your directional bar. All right. So I'm gonna just read it off. Directional bar happens when the current candle opens within the high and low of the previous candle. I didn't throw this in there, but sometime you'll have something gap up overnight, right? But as long as it has cleared the high of that candle, and I'm gonna show you on the chart, as long as it has taken out the high, or if it gaps up overnight and took out the high, it's two up. And I'm gonna show you two down, same thing. And then exceeds the high or low of the previous candle, right? If the previous candle traded with the high of say 6, so let's say this is 6, right? And the low is 3 down here, and this candle took out that high, that's considered a two up. All right, so let me show you guys on the chart. Pretty self-explanatory. Oops. So if you notice right here with this bar, right? So here's the previous bar right here, a two up, meaning it opened above, or even if it opens inside. Like take this one, for example, as well. We can use both of these. We can use both. All right. So this one actually gapped up overnight and opened above the previous candle, which is fine. Right. But it it took out the high of this candle. So even if it opened here, came all the way down here, and then shot all the way back up, the fact is that it ran above the high of the previous candle. Therefore, it's a two up. And the other thing that makes this a two up candle is it closed above where it opened. Once again, Bullish green candles open at the bottom and go up. Bearish candles open at the top and close down. So even if this candle opened here, ran all the way up here and closed down here, it's still considered a two up because it took out this high and it closed above the where it opened. So it's just a regular two up candle. All right. Two downs. Price opened right here and it took out the low of the previous candle, right? So even though price ran all the way down and it closed below its open, so a two down candle opens either inside or below the range of the previous candle and closes below its open, okay? So even if it closed right here, it still closed below where it opened at. But the main thing is that it took out that low. So two down, it took out that low and closed below where it opened at. And then vice versa for a two up candle. You see this one opened up inside of this, but it closed above where it opened and it also took out the previous high for a two up. And as far as your indicator, is going to show a green candle for two up and a red down candle for a two down. And I'm going to break down the different types of two candles as well. But just want to make sure, is that as far as a simple two up and two down, is that pretty self-explanatory? And remember, you can open up inside of the range. Keyword is open up inside of the range, or you can open up above for a two up. Okay. Same with bearish. You can open up inside of the previous range as long as it takes it out. Same with the two up. As long as you've cleared the previous candle's high. I'm trying to find one. Okay, here's a bearish example of one that gap down. This one, look where it opened below the previous range. So it gapped down overnight, but still it took out the low of the previous candle and then it closed below the open where it opened at. All right. So pretty self-explanatory. All right. So those are two ups and then those are two downs. All right. Now we're gonna go even deeper because once we start talking about like the failed two ups and two downs, which is something we've been loving lately, and so we're gonna get even into it. But let me just make sure y'all pretty much getting where I'm going. All right. So next candle that I want to break down are last thing too. So when you see this, let me show you guys something real quick. Going back to the plays. So when you see I'm trying to look for some lingo here so that you guys can keep up too with the lingo. Uh let me see. Let me just type it in here. To you. All right. To you. All right. Here's an example. Oh, yeah. Meta today. All right. So if you look at this, I pretty much said, I threw this out in the group right before it happened, right? I had said, oh yeah. I had said you got a double inside daily right here, right? So that's a lot of consolidation. And then I said if Meta double inside day could go to you. So you should be able, anybody tell me in the chat to you? Well, you should know what that means. Just based on what we've been learning about the candle types. Two up. That's it. All right. So that means, and let's pull up the meta chart because it actually went oops, to you on the daily. Oh shit. Shoot. So at the time, this was a yellow bar because we did not shoot that high yet, which means this candle, this current day's candle, at the time that I called that out, it was still within the range of yesterday's highs and lows. So I said I'm looking for it to go stay inside for the day or go to you, meaning it would have taken out the high of yesterday's candle. And that's what it did. So it ran to you meaning it took out the high, and now we got us a 2-up bar. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Let's go on the weekly just to see. No, that's not. No, nothing's inside. So, and that's the other thing when you looking at your plays and when you just randomly looking at a chart, sometimes, and I don't know why it does this, maybe there's another strat indicator, but sometimes this will say inside and it'd be accurate, right? I mean, it'd be inaccurate because if you look at the weekly, it says weekly is inside, but when you click on the week, it's not inside, right? You click on the month, we're 2 up on the month. So just make sure you don't just assume, oh, we inside. Go check that out. And you'll either find it to be inaccurate or you'll find like, oh, shoot, we inside and it looks like we're getting ready to take out a high or a low. So if it's green and inside, check and see how close it is to go trigger the next. Like, for example, if Meta is already at all-time high. So let me go to something like, let me go use Tesla, for example. So Tesla on the month. So if something is flagging, say like inside on the monthly, let's say it has the IN saying inside on the month, you want to go check that, especially if it's green, because you have your full time frame continuity, right? And it says inside, so that's your actionable signal, right? So you want to go check that because if it's getting ready, like this bar right here, this month, this is what my cursor, December last year. This started off inside. So this would have been considered 2 inside months. Now, if it's still inside and it's flagging inside on the month and it's green, right? Like, oh shoot, it's getting ready to take out the high of the previous month. So if we go 2 up on this thing should pop. And it did. It went 2 up and it ran as high as 265 and went 2 up. Oops, it went 2 up at 253 and ran as high as 263, 265. All right. So though, like, again, when you see inside, when you see those yellow bars, when you see that it's outlined in green as far as going to the upside, when you see multiple consolidating bars, that should get your attention. Like, oh shoot, look like we about to pop. Or when it does pop, it should be a big move. All right. Um, so now let me go to strat candle types, outside bars. All right. Again, just like inside, outside bars are pretty self-explanatory. Mm. Hold on real quick. Let me just. All right. So 3 bars. These should automatically be purple depending on what. I know some people use different strat indicators. I just been keeping the strat assistant for like 2 years already, so I just keep using them. But on my charts, they show up purple. And so it's the outside bar occurs when the current candle exceeds the high and low of the previous candle. So let's go look at an example. I know I love my inside bars, and for real, I love my inside bars. Let me just get rid of this real quick. Got too much going on my chart right now. Mm, hold on. I'm just looking for an example. Excuse me, a clear example. Here's one right here. All right, so you see this 3 bar. This bar right here doesn't matter where it opens, okay? It does not matter where it opens to be considered as long as it has taken out the high and taken out the low. If price opens here and then if price closes here, but and it took out the high of the previous bar and the low of the previous bar, it went outside. It went outside here and outside there. Therefore, it is considered an outside bar. Just like the inside bar, vice versa. Inside bars stay inside the range. Outside bars go outside the range. Okay. Now, the thing that you'll notice that we pay attention to um, is, yep, 1 to 3, always a 3. The thing that you'll notice with a lot of plays, and you'll see like in our favorite setups, we love the 3 1s because let me see, what was the last? I'm trying to think of something that had like a 3 1 and it actually popped for us. Well, I know. Okay, let's start with 1 3s. Let's start with a 1 3 first. So AMD, I gave this on last week. AMD on the 3 day had a 1 3 2, no, 3 1 2 on the 5 day. All right, so let me pull this up real quick. AMD 5 day chart. Uh, boom, here we go right here. This is beautiful. Oh man, gotta love them 3 1 2s. They call them 3 1 see you later. It's a 3 1 2 see you later. All right. So I'm gonna tell you how we like to identify this, or how I like to break this down, right? Carvana Daily got a 3 1 2. Okay, cool, cool. All right, so you look at this. This is a 5 day chart, by the way. So each one of these candles consists of 5 days worth of price action. All right. So we're gonna start here. This outside bar on Monday, starting Monday, June 17th, for the next 5 days, it took out the high and it took out the low of the previous 5 days. So price is still trying to decide where it's gonna go. Okay, so price is like, okay, took out the highs, took out the lows, still a little bit indecisive, right? But then we say, okay, this time the range got a little bit tighter because it stayed inside of this range. So now it's an indication of price is starting to find or pick a direction that it's about to go. We just got to be on the right side, right? And then what's the thing that I said earlier multiple times in this call? I said the more consolidation, bigger the move. So that means, so you mean to tell me price right here consolidated for 5 days? This is a 5 day span that it consolidated within the previous 5 days range. And then look what happened once we took it out. So price ran from, well, our entry would have been right here. All right. So for the next 5 days, our entry on the 5 day, you would have got in at 166. And if you swung it, cool, you would have got all the way up here. But within this 5 day candle, you got all the way to 180 on AMD. Now, a lot of us have been swinging since last week. But AMD has reached a high of 187. So the last 5 day candle, let me see. So Tuesday was closed on Wednesday for the holiday. So Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. So new 5 day candle. Am I confusing myself? I think I am. July. Oh yeah. My bad. My bad. This is last week's 5 day candle. So last week's 5 day candle opened on Tuesday. So once it opened within those 5 days, price took out the previous high of the last 5 days, and you see the type of move. So you can see how powerful these 3 1 2s are. And when you can break down the meaning of them, like I said, this is still kind of deciding because it took out the low and it took out the it took out the high. So you're like, okay, ran outside, price still trying to figure things out, right? Inside bar, okay, it's staying within the range, still trying to pick, right? And then boom, we got our pop. Same here. 3 1 2, right? Price took out, still can't quite pick a direction. This one stayed inside. So we got our actionable signal to even give us more of an indication like, okay, something's about to happen. And it's also a bullish inside bar. And then we got the 2 up and then it ran. Same thing for bullish too, right? Let me try to find, we ain't been bullish in so long, but let me try to find a bearish 3 1 2. If I don't find it, because let me see 3 1 2. If I don't find one, then we haven't been bearish in so long. But uh yeah, doesn't look like I'm gonna. Well, here you go right here. So with this example, mind you, I'm also on a 5 day chart. So, but if you look at this, you got 3 bar, right? Took out the high and a low inside. And even looking at this body, you can kind of see, and this isn't always the case, but if you look at the body of this candle, it went as high as up here, but look where it closed. So this is like, okay, the bulls can kind of push this down. I'd be a little iffy because even though it's bullish and it ran up, the bears push this back down. Sellers push this back down, push price action back down. So then we ended up going 312 to the downside, and price went as low as our entry would have been right here, 29.86. Price went as low as 28.55. So it took out the previous low and went two down. You know what I'm saying? So 312s, definitely something that we like. Those are like go-to setups. All right. Now I want to go into, here's an example of one I'm about to go into. Y'all follow me so far? So we got the ones, we got the regular ones, the hammer ones, the regular twos, the regular threes, right? Pretty like, are y'all kind of understanding it more now? Like breaking it down live? Because we're gonna go even deeper into these candles. All right. Strike candle types. Nikki, are you getting it? Lindsay getting it? Olivia, okay, okay. For sure, for sure. All right. Just want to make sure because don't want to lose y'all. All right. So next candle type, these are some favorites right here. Failed two downs. So a failed two down, it shows that price opened and pushed going down first. So this is where price opened. I'm gonna show you on the chart too, but for the sake of the image here, price opened here. Okay. Now again, I want you kind of put what I'll go over it slowly, but just kind of put it all together as I'm breaking it down. So failed two down. This price started here and started to go two down, which means it took out the low of the previous candle. Okay. Now, the failed part comes in because it failed to stay as a bearish candle. So, number one, price opened right here. Number two, price failed to stay bearish. And the bulls buyers bought this up, pushed price up, pushed it up. But that's not it. Because look, somebody asked me today, they saw, I'll show you what they thought I was referring to. Let's see here. On the daily, they thought that, all right. So if you look at this candle right here, and again, my wicks. I don't know about you guys' wicks, but I changed the color of mine. So like my bullish, so anything outlined in green is bullish for me personally. I changed the colors of my candles for the most part. And anything that's bearish, if you're looking on my chart for the videos and stuff, anything bearish, the wicks are blue, right? Outline is blue. So just remember that for the sake of this class or any classes for now, is that bearish candles are outlined in blue, bullish is outlined in green. So like this inside bar right here, it was inside, but it closed down here. So therefore it was a bearish inside bar. This. Now, somebody in the group earlier were like, I said, oh, Amazon is forming a hammer on a daily. So their response was, and it's a failed two down. So the reason why it's not a failed two down is this part right here. Price for a failed two down has to close above the open. And that would make it a failed two down. So remember, price opened right here, starting bearish, took out the previous low, but it has to close below. Remember what we said when we talked about two downs? Price has to close below open to be considered a two down when it closes. It has to close below the open. All right. If it closes above the open after it's taken out the previous low, that is considered a failed two down. And I'm gonna show you an example. So look at this. We opened right here, bearish candle, right? It took out the low. Cool. We got us a two down, right? Bulls pushed it all the way back up, but it didn't close above where we opened. Let me just mark the open real quick. We didn't close above this. We still closed below where we opened. So it's still a bearish two down. Okay. So make sure. Hold on real quick. Below this. Oh, yeah. Make sure you don't confuse yourself. Don't think just because bulls pushed it up that it's a failed two down. It's not a failed two down. Okay. Price. So let me show you what a failed two down looks like. Well, let's see. I'm on a daily time frame. All right, here goes a good one. There's quite a few over here. Let me use this one real quick because I can use this example for a few things. All right. This right here is a failed two down because price opened here. Price went down as far as here and took out the low. So this is already considered a two down. Now it's just a matter of when this candle closes, is it going to stay two down? Or in this case, I'm sorry, price opened down here. My apologies. I confused myself. Sorry. Price opened down here and went as far as here. So we already got our two down because it took out this low. But price got pushed up way up here. And then look where it closed. So you got your open, right? I'll label it for you. Let's make it left side. All right, so you got your open here. Just label ain't even. You got your open here. And then our close was above where we opened, but we started off bearish. Okay. So again, that is your failed two down. It failed to stay two down. It started two down, but it failed to stay two down. Oops. So therefore, when it closed above, now we have and then this is the other indication is it'll still have the red arrow, right? But it's outlined in green. So your default colors, I think with the strat, it should be an outlined green, or the wicks around the body and the wicks, outside of the body should be green and the body is red. So that's another indication. So when you just looking at stuff, you can automatically be like, oh yeah, that's a failed two down. Okay, yeah, that's a failed, it's a failed two down, right? Now, entries on failed two down candles, because as you know, we like to use these as entries. So on this particular hold on, let me check the chat real quick. How can you tell where the open is? It looks similar to the last candle. Yeah, the body is red. So when you see that the body is red and it's outlined in green and it has this red down arrow, that's automatically a failed two down. Again, this is based off of Strat Assistant indicator, and then my settings are default colors. The blue, let me see if I can just change it for you. Let me see. I hope I don't mess myself up because I feel like I did that last time. Settings, my colors. For you guys, I'm just gonna, oh yeah, it's already on. It's on default. Yeah. Yeah, we should be good. Yeah. But just based off the default colors, you can tell where it opened because, like I said a few times, it opened here. A failed two down, you'll know because the open is always going to be at the bottom and the close is always going to be above the open. Failed two down automatically. Failed two down, open is going to be at the bottom, close is going to be at the top. And you're going to see the red arrow letting you know this was a 2 down candle. But the green outline lets you know that it failed to stay 2 down and ended up bullish. All right. So hopefully that's self-explanatory. Um, Now, entries on failed 2 down candles is the high of the failed 2 down. Now, with the failed 2 downs, these can be indications or signs of a reversal. Because if you look right here, right? If you look right here, price was headed to the upside, took a little dip, right? But right here, you think, okay, cool, we're going bearish, we're going bearish. Nope, bull stepped in and pushed this thing up and stayed bullish. So what we would say for the play, we'd be like, okay, long as we got full time frame continuity or most of the, the time frame is going green, we're going to take entry above the failed 2 down. And your entry would be the high of the failed 2 down. So with this one, price opened up here. Our entry would be the high of the previous failed 2 down candle. And as you see, price ended up running to the upside. All right. I'm sure I could find a bunch of these. Sorry, let me just look in here, see what other fails have we had. Coinbase. My bad. I'm just looking at some of these to see if we got what is this? SMCI 1 week. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I hit on this. What's today? Wednesday? Monday. SMCI. A few people actually took SMCI on the weekly. All right, so wait, what did I say? Hold on real quick. This is Monday, July. Oh, okay, a couple weeks ago. Sorry, I think I confused myself because July. I think I just confused myself because this weekly bar, I was looking for the failed 2 down on SMC highs weekly, and I might have missed it or whatever. I think I missed it, but yeah, inside, I mean, failed 2 downs are indications of a reversal. So, like for example, on this daily candle, right? Tomorrow, if I was looking at now, granted, you have conflict right here because you have the weekly's down, the quarter's down, day is up, monthly is up. So we call that conflict. So it's not the highest probable. But if price tomorrow were to take out the high of today, I would consider calls because again, price opened up here, right? It's closed already. The day is closed. So you can look at this and say, okay, cool. So we know it's a failed 2 down because the body is red, outlined in green, got the arrow. So that means price opened up here, took out this low because it traded as far as down here, but it got pushed up. So it closed above its open here, pushed down, took out that low, pushed up, and closed above where it opened, right? So for the most part, pretty self-explanatory. Then if I wanted to use this as an entry, I know tomorrow when we open up a new candle, it needs to take out this high. Okay. And once it takes out that high, that's when I would get in calls. All right. Is that pretty you guys pretty much get a failed 2 up? I just want to make sure y'all follow me. I'm a failed 2 up. And the reason why another reason why we like these failed 2 ups, especially on a higher time frame, is because again, it's showing like at the time, it's showing who's in control of price action for that particular time frame. Okay. So it's like um so like for example, with the failed 2 downs, the Bulls took control because the Bears started it off. Bulls took over and said, nah, we're gonna close and try to reverse this thing. Now, does it always happen? Not at all, because hold on, I'm gonna show you a failed two down that did not work for a reversal. Um, I saw a couple too, so let me just find because not all. Here you go, right here. Oh wait, hold on. Here's one right here. Right here, you see you got a failed two down, right? So you got your open. Look, we opened below previous candles low, so we already got our two down, right? It closed above its open. Look at the next bar though. We did not go up, so we did not reverse to the upside. In fact, we went two down on the next candle. So we took out this failed two downs low, and this closed below where we opened at. So this is just a regular two down, but what I'm doing is showing you not all failed two downs reverse to the upside. And that's why we want that continuity, that full time frame continuity. That's why we want why don't you I'm gonna just answer this why don't you take entry at the top of the candle body instead of the wick? Because that's not a proper entry. That's not a proper strat entry. So when you go, Jeremy, when you study this, and this is what you're supposed to do. When you're trading the strat, this is what you're supposed, because think about it like this. Imagine you just hop in. Like, how you know where it's gonna go? It's kind of like, why don't you should wait for your trigger. So like if a 2-1-2 reversal is or let me look for a 2-2. It's easier to find. If a 2-2 reversal, right, is taking the low of the previous bullish candle, and you're taking a two down under the low, you can't just get in early just for the sake of getting in early. You have to wait for your trigger, because if you get in and it goes the other way, you're gonna be like, well, nothing really told me to get in. I didn't really have a trigger to get in. So you got to ask, what's the conviction for just getting in? You get what I'm saying? So like when you so back to the charts, when you see this, you can't just assume based on how the strat was created and the way the strat works. You can't just get in just to get in. You have to get in on a proper trigger. So like with this 2-1-2, you want to get in at the high of this. You don't want to just jump in right here, because price might reverse, price might consolidate. But if you know your trigger, your entry is here, or the low is here, that's why you would get in. When it comes to the strat, like we say, no trigger, no trade. You want to wait for your trigger. Here's another example right here. Imagine you got in on this at the high, but then price came all the way back down here. You can't get in just because it's at the high. That's making sense. You don't want to guess. You know what I mean? So um you want to take the proper entry, not your own entry. You want to take the proper strat entry, and it's best practice. You know what I mean? Even if it worked out, it's not best practice. You want to do, you know what I mean, what's right. So so I went over failed two up for like forever. Let me go to the failed two downs. So let's go back here, candle type. I'm sorry, I did fail two down. Failed two ups. Failed two ups is just reverse. All right. So failed two up. Price opened and pushed up. Okay. So price opened right here. Started bullish. We went two up because we took out the high of the previous candle. And I'm gonna show you on the chart. But price opened and went two up. So we took out the high of the previous candle. We already know what a two up is. We should by now in this class. Right. However, it failed to stay bullish, therefore closing below the open. So remember, what it failed to down, we went down and closed above open, fell to up, we went up and closed below open. Self-explanatory, right? And then just to break down more of the context and the meaning behind it, it means that bulls opened this up, bears or sellers stepped in, pushed price down, and said, nah, we're going to close down here. So now that is an indication of a possible bearish reversal, right? And the way it looks on the chart, green body, red outline. Failed two downs, red body, green outline. All right. And I'm about to show you that looks for in the chat. So failed to, these are kind of hard for me to find because shoot, man, we ain't been bearish in a minute. Hold on real quick. Let me check my candles to up. Oh yeah. I need to go on my chart settings real quick because um and for those that want to change the colors, you just go to your chart settings up here for your overall candles, and then it's under symbol. So I'm gonna go back to default. So I'm gonna make all of these green and red so that for the sake of the class. All right, so we should be good. So here you go right here. You got a bunch of failed two ups. Here we go right here. Good examples right here. But I want to show where price ended up going down so I can give you an entry. And here is an example right here. All right, so all right, make sure y'all paying attention. All right, 'cause I don't want y'all to be like go back over that because y'all in the chat. Make sure y'all paying attention. So look at this candle right here. This is a failed to up. You have your green arrow pointing up, but you have your red outline showing that it failed, and you have your green body. What this means, once again, price opened up right here. Okay. And what price opened up, therefore, we opened up above the previous candle's high. So we got our two up. However, sellers, bears stepped in and they pushed price back down here, closing below its open. All right. Two up, close below open. And this close could be here, it could be here, it could be here, it could be here, it could be way down here. As long as it closes below its open, but also, and I'm gonna go into something else, as long as it doesn't take out the previous candle, because let me ask y'all this, and let me see who's been paying attention. If this candle were to open here, go up, right? Come down. What if the candle closed down here? What would this candle end up being if it closed down here? Not a failed 2U, no. A 3 bar for sure. Not a failed 2 up either. Yep, a 3. Exactly. Why? Because it's open. It took out the previous bar's high and the previous bar's low. So therefore, this would be an outside bar. Easy. Like, took out the high and low of the previous bar. All right. So pretty like look right here, right? Price opened here, took out the high, but it also took out the low. Once it's a 3, it's always going to be a 3. You'll hear that saying a lot. However, with this particular example, it did not. So look, I said that a failed 2 up is an indication that price could be reversing to the downside. Not a guarantee, but an indication. So the next bar, which in this case would be the next day, your entry, vice versa of the failed 2 down, you would take the low, right? So you would have got in at 1021, and you see price ended up going 2 down because it took out the low of the previous candle, and price went all the way down to 987. So about a $35, $40 point move. It doesn't matter where this closed. It's the fact that it took out this low and stayed within range and closed below the body. All right. So right here, let me break down the two just to sum this up. Let me break down the two different types. So you got your 2 down, which it opened inside, took out the previous candle's low, even if it opened here, took out the previous candle's low and closed below where it opened. Bearish candle open here, closed below the open. All right. Your failed 2 up is price started up, went bullish because it took out that high, but ended bearish because it closed below its open. Okay. So 2 down, open, take out the previous candle's low, close below open, right? Failed 2 down, is this candle went below the previous candle's low. So now we got our two down. However, bulls pushed it back up and said, nah, it failed to stay two down and closed above the open. So now we got us a fail two down. So you can see the difference. Even just looking at you can look at this and just see the difference. Like two down, fail two down, right? Your eyes, like I said, the more you see it, another example, fail two down, fail two down, which means this failed two down, opened here, closed up. This one opened here, closed down. Okay, didn't take out the high and the low, only took out the low, which keeps it at two down. Didn't take out the high, keeps it at two down. All right. Now, I want to dive a little bit deeper into these two, because is there anything else that would kind of catch your attention about this candle right here? You guys could tell me in the chat. Anything that makes you say, well, yeah, that's a two down, but what else do you kind of thank you? Yeah, it's looking like a hammer. Yep, it's looking like a hammer. Right? And it doesn't matter. It does, but it doesn't matter that it's green for it to be a hammer. Obviously, the higher probable hammer would be a green one, right? But a hammer is an actionable signal. Again, a universal truth, actionable signals, right? One of the universal truths are actionable signals. So this right here is like, okay, we had a fail two down, bulls came in, but then you see we had a two down here. Bears are still doing their thing, but the bulls or the buyers still like trying to get in this this madness right here, and they like, nah, man, we trying to, you know what I mean, these is telling a story right here. These is telling you something. And this is why I said part of this class will be candlestick anatomy, because you also want to pay attention to the types of candles you get in. It's not just a regular two down like this right here. This is a regular two down, larger body, you know what I mean? Two down right here, a larger body, took up most of the range of the price action because you got the high, you got the low, took out. I mean, this makes up a lot of the range of the body, right? But then, hold on, let me look at the chart. But right here, he's like, it's mostly wick. You go back and look at the hammer chart, it's mostly wick. So the bulls push this up. So that's telling me something like, all right, are bulls trying to step in? And then, of course, the very next day, if you were to get an entry above here, you would have got a 2-2 reversal. And I'm going to break that down in a minute. But for the most part, you guys kind of get fail two ups, fail two down. You know what a two up, you know what a two down is. Just want to make sure that y'all at least kind of getting it. Yeah. This is why I say once it's broken down, it's like, all right, I get it now. You know what I'm saying? Two up, uh, two up, two down. It's you just had to put it together. But it's fairly simple though. Fairly simple. All right. So let's go back. We got some more other candlesticks. Let me see. Okay. So now what I want to do now, uh, what I want to do now is I want to pair these candle types with when you see the plays, because let's be honest, right? And it is okay. Y'all in class, don't be shy. But let's be honest. Who in here be looking at this? Let's take this. I'm gonna highlight it. How many of y'all, and I want y'all to drop either a laughing emoji or whatever you want. How many of y'all being here and be like, 2-day hammer, failed two down today? What is he talking about? What is a 2D? What is a 2U? What is these? Like, I know that y'all be like that. And it's okay. It's cool. That's why I'm doing this class. Because like I said, it's people that's been in here and I still be like, what is he talking about? All right. Somebody said it'd be like Spanish. All right. All right. Now listen, I'm about to ask y'all another question. Let's see who can be real in here. How many people have also been in here at least a couple of days and have not took time to go through the what is this strat, so you can at least have an idea of what it is, because that's a whole another question. How to get started. How many people have been in here for a little bit and also have not taken the time to go through this and was like, forget it. He doing a class on it. I'm gonna just tune in the class. Be accountable. You know what I'm saying? So, it's cool. We human. Hey, we human. It's all good. I ain't mad at nobody. But that's why we doing this class. So, um, so what I want to do is make sure y'all understand, I mean, what I be talking about during these plays. So let's go over some. So when you see let me see here. What day was this? 7/7. All right. So when you see me say Carvana, back to back 2-day hammers, let's start with that right there. Hold on, real quick. I just need to check some. When you see Carvana back to back 2-day hammers, you like, all right, what is he to be able to identify? When you like, what is he talking about? This is what I mean. So let's pull up Carvana. Up here, these are the time frames, and let me show you how you can add these. So a lot of my plays do come off of these, and I'll be looking for consolidation or fail 2 down. So like dailies, 2 days. Hold on real quick. I need to check something. I'll be stealing some of y'all plays. I don't know. It sounds kind of suspect, Mikey. I ain't gonna lie. Um, Give me 1 second. I need to check something real quick. I don't know that I can't lie. That was kind of suspect. Like people be saying some weird stuff in the chat, so it's kind of weird. Oscar, I'm gonna be nice and say you said, "How do I get this style on your trading view?" You just go up here and you click indicators and you type in Strat Assistant, and this is the one that I use. So Strat Assistant under indicators, but you can also so yeah, so what was I getting at? Oh, yeah, yeah. So here's how you add the time frames right here. Um, you go up to the time frames, you'll see these on your chart. You click this drop down right here, and you type in, if you want to add, you'll see right here, add custom interval. You click this. So let's say you want to do a 4-day, right? So you type in 4, and then you click in. Do you want minutes, hours, days, weeks, months? So you say a 4-day chart. Well, I guess I already got it on my thing. So let me put 4-month. Oh, dang, that already exists. But that's how you do it. And then you'll click add. And then it'll pop up here. No, these are my favorites, but it'll pop up on your time frame. I have my favorites up here. And the way you do your favorites, you click this drop down right here, and then there's a star. So if I want to favorite the 2-minute, or actually, I don't even need this. I don't need that either. But if you want to favorite these, you just scroll down, hit the star, and it'll pop up on so you can easily click them. All right. Now let's go back. So again, back to back 2-day hammers. What is he talking about? So, oh wait, it says back to back. Yeah, 2-day. That means 2-day, meaning this is the time frame that I'm on, the 2-day time frame. So let's go current. Let's pull up the 2-day chart and look right here. So Carvana had a 2-day hammer right here. And what that means is each candle represents 2 days worth of price action. Okay. So you got a hammer here, a bearish one. You got an inside bullish one right here. So that I was like, all right, we got 2 hammers back to back, looking like price could pop. Unfortunately, at that time, the next candle that we got actually ended up bearish, but bulls pushed it back up. So I was still keeping an eye on it. But then I said, um, also had a failed two down, okay, on the daily. So when you would have clicked the daily at that time, this is what I saw, a failed two down. So I was looking for calls over this, but unfortunately, price actually dipped back down on this past Monday. So 2 days ago, price actually ran down. Cool, wasn't tripping, right? So uh I put here adding in at 129.50, which is previous week's high. So for those that don't know, when you see PWH, that's previous week high, PMH, previous month high, PDH, previous day high, and vice versa. If it's PWL, PML, PDL, it's previous day low, previous week low, previous month low. Sometimes I do quarter, um, but that's what that means. All right. So what this is saying is I'm aiming for previous month's high. All right. But and I'm putting where that is. And you can find that easy. You just open up the weekly chart, go up to your top, hit the weekly, and then you can look right here. You can mark, I'll tell the group, mark these out. Previous week's highs. In this case, because we're bullish, that's what I'm aiming for. But that was the goal, was to get the previous week's high, right? Then I said, if we can take that out, let's go for previous month. Well, how do I find previous month? Easy. Go to the monthly chart and look for the month. And you see previous month's candle. This is our current month. This is the previous month. And I said we was aiming for that. Again, we stopped at 163.53. We was 40 cents away. All right. And we still got time because oh, did it really push back all the way down here? Yeah, we still got time. All right. So I want to go over yeah, so I want to make sure that you guys understand the lingo. Another thing, right? Amazon. Let me see. This was on what this means is you had an inside 4 hour hammer. So this was on Sunday. So let me pull this up for you guys. Basically, I'm just making sure you guys can understand what I be talking about. I'm pull up the 4 hour and all right. So let me see. July. Let me see. I said Amazon inside 4 hour hammer and two-day hammer. I don't know why I don't see that. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. All right. So with this one, here's what I saw. We had a failed two down, right, on the 4 hour, but it was also a hammer. So I said, okay, we may end up reversing. So if we get over this, I like calls. Okay. So then I said on the 2 day, you had a 2 day hammer. So when you go on the 2 day chart, this new one, new one, new one. So this closed on Friday. Also, one last thing I want to mention to you guys, make sure that you know when these candles are gonna close for your entry. So let me give you an example. Um, Let me give you an example. So if you look at this candle right here, if you look at the bottom, it says Monday, July 8th. That means that this candle, and also look at the time frame, it says 2 day. If you look at this candle, that means it opened on Monday and it was for 2 days. So Monday and Tuesday. So when you look at this 2 day candle, that means it opened today and it's closing tomorrow because it's 2 days worth of price action. So if I'm looking for an entry based on this two down candle, if I'm taking it off the two down, then I'm looking for entry on Friday, and I would take the high of this candle. All right, you get what I'm saying? But if I'm looking at say this one, right? This was like a couple Fridays ago. So that means this opened on a Friday and it closed on a Monday, which means the next 2 day candle will open on a Tuesday. So this one right here, you see it opened Tuesday, June 18th. This one opened Friday on the 14th. So therefore, I'm saying, okay, this candle closed on Monday here. The high of that 2 days range is here. So my next 2-day candle, when it opens, I'm looking to take the high. It's no different than a 4-hour candle, a 1-hour candle, a daily, a weekly. It's just, how much time that candle is comprised in, right? So same here, right? You got your failed 2 up. That means opened here, went bullish because it took out this high, but it closed below where it opened. Cool. Our entry on this would be here, but this candle opened up on a Tuesday. This one closed on a Friday. So this is all Monday, Tuesday. So it opened here on Monday. Okay. So once it opens, I'm looking to take out that previous one, previous high or low, whichever setup that we're looking for. Okay. So again, um when you see 2-day hammer, you know, oh, he's talking about the 2-day time frame. All right. So I'm just answering a couple of questions. It might be a stupid question. What if you get a hammer upside down? Oh yeah, we haven't got there yet, Oscar. So all right. So I want to move on to the next type of candle. So we got these, like, can y'all, so you guys get the inside bars, right? We went over the hammers, right? Inside bars. Went over hammers. We went over 2 ups, went over 2 downs, went over outside bars, went over failed 2 downs, failed 2 ups. Okay. A Momo hammer is like a hammer with momentum. So let me show you guys that too. Um, it's rare that I like call it that. That is what it is, but it's rare that I like pick up on it like, oh shoot, it's a Momo hammer too. You know what I'm saying? It's very rare. But I'm gonna tell you guys, for y'all that's watching this, a stock that y'all need to keep in rotation is Lilly. This is a healthcare stock. This thing keeps on running. If you look at this weekly chart, with the exception of, we'll say March and April, because it did kind of consolidate or whatever. But like Eli Lilly, look at this. It's kind of self-explanatory, right? Since May, first week of May, every week has went 2 up, 2 up, 2 up, 2 up, 2 up, 2 up. And then look at this. So look, so can anybody tell me what they see with this purple, with this 3 bar? Let me see who been paying attention. And you can tell me what you see. Oh, some people still thinking. It's all good. That's why we doing the class. Oh yeah. But not only is it a hammer, it's an outside hammer. So is it so even if you break it down more, you say, okay, we took out the high. We also went as low as, and mind you, this is a week's worth of price action. Let's keep that in mind. All right. But we went as low as 878. But the Bulls stepped in and said, nah, man, we controlling this. Let's push this thing back up. And we closed at 914. So again, we opened at 911, went as low. I think this was last week, and I remember some news that came out and pushed this thing back up. But opened here when it went as low as an 878. So about $30 from where we opened at. We fell and then we pushed. I think this is all on Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday. I kind of remember this. And I'm gonna just give y'all a quick gem. So Eli Lilly's contracts, they can be a bit expensive at the beginning of the week. So if you know a little bit about contract expiration, if you are buying, obviously the closer to expiration, the cheaper the contract is going to be, right? So if you buy, say you're looking at contracts that end this Friday, July 12th, and you buy it, say tomorrow, it's going to be cheaper than what it was on Monday because you're not buying as much time, you're not buying as much insurance. So it's riskier, but you got to give and take. So they say, okay, it's going to be riskier for you because you don't have as much time. So we're going to give it to you for cheaper, right? But if you buy more time, it's less riskier. But because you buy more time, it's going to cost more. You get what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say Eli Lilly contracts on like Thursday or Friday can be very much cheaper than beginning of the week. Also, this thing moves quite a bit. It can move $10, $20 plus. And if you buy it on like a Thursday or Friday, and this moves like $3 to $5, especially if you buy right at the money, there's a good chance you're gonna hit 75 to 100% just off that little bit of movement. How do I know? I mean, I've done it myself and I've seen it happen. Okay. That's one thing. Two things. I mean, the second thing, this stock is something I'm going to keep in my rotation just about every couple of weeks. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you look at this, again, this is a weekly chart. It thing since May, we're up $200 in May. May, what, 741? We're in May. Two months later, we're up $200. I'm telling you right now, I'm not no financial advisor, none of that. This thing going to 1,000. It's going to 1,000. I don't know all the news behind it. Like I can't break down every single, but I know this is a very valuable company. Um, and like they be coming up with all types of cures. This is a healthcare stock. But so what I plan on doing, right, is always buying like a couple weeks out, maybe $50 to $100 out the money. But I'm not just buying it to buy. I'm looking for a pullback. So what I mean is this. I'm gonna break down this play and then I'm gonna get back to the candle types. But make sure you pay attention to this. So what I'm about to do, right? I'm gonna mark out the highs and low of this range alone, just this alone. And then I'm gonna show you where you could have entered and just swung. So pay attention to this. So, uh, just quick gem. Like you can, I know there's some people in the chat. Oops. Hold on real quick. Let me, hold on real quick. I need to. Oh yeah. All right. Let me mark out the low of this range. I'm gonna just mark it right here. All right, there's some people in the chat. I don't want to name their names. Some of y'all, if y'all pay attention enough, you'll see her. So another lady boss. She be trading the mess out of this stock. I mean, like, actually let me pause real quick, real quick. Let me just pause this real quick. My shipment is here, so let me tell my son to go and grab that for me. All right, we good. Sorry about that. Hold on real quick. Sorry about that. All right. So what I was gonna say was, yeah, she swings this like she's always in this play because it's continuously going to the upside. But I'm gonna tell you what's the best way to do it. So again, I've marked out the high from like this $200 movement, right? Let me get rid of this one right here. Oops. Hold on real quick. Let me. He said she's killing it. All right. So this is a weekly time frame. Each one of these bars right here consists of each week, right? But let me break down. Hold on real quick. Let me break down where you could get in and just swing. All right. And I'm gonna also break down so you know how much time that you should buy. Somebody asked that, and I'm gonna show you just with this stock alone. So this is weeks. Let me show you something. Remember, this is the low of that range, and these are the highs of that range. Okay. So right here you go right here. You got a two down, a two down, but you got a hammer. So if you got in on Wednesday, May, off the pullback, right? Because price went up, cool. You may not have found an entry on the lower time frame, right? You got your hammer. So you know, okay, if we go bullish, I'm taking the high of this two down right here, right? You could have swung, taking your profits, right? And you might be like, okay, well, where will my price target be? What previous day highs and lows, previous week highs and lows, previous month highs and lows, right? So you got your, let me change this real quick. You got your previous week's high because this week, this is this Thursday from the previous week. Friday, start a new week. Tuesday, I think it must have been a holiday somewhere right there. So that Wednesday of the next week, you could have taken your 2-2 reversal. I'll break it down. 2-2 reversal. You get in your calls above this high. Now you swinging and you take out the high of the previous week. Boom. Right? So you may either swing all the way or you may say, you know what? I take my profits. I'll wait for the next pullback. No problem. So you get a pullback. Price, stayed inside, but was bearish. Can anybody tell me what setup they see right there? Probably more experienced traders probably see it. Any of my stratters? Sam already know that 1-3 B agent. Yep. That 1-3-2 right here. So you got your pullback. You said, I'm gonna get in on the next pullback. Well, you got one right here. Got your pullback. You got your 3. You say, oh dang, you got a 1-3-2 setting up. Take out the high of this. Now, granted, yes, price did pull back, but you bought time. We probably got full time frame continuity with all of this. And as you see, price is running, right? Another pullback. So look right here. Remember, can anybody tell me what this is? Who's the fastest? Can anybody tell me this bar right here that my mouse is on? What is that? Yep. Yep. It's actually, it's actually a failed 2 up. Failed 2 up because it failed to stay up. See, you just gotta spend time and understand. Failed 2 up, failed 2 up, got the green arrow, failed 2 down, got the red. In fact, if you look right here, here's a couple of them back to back right here. This is a failed 2 down. Opened here, went down, opened here. So failed 2 down, failed 2 up, opened here, went 2 up because it took out this high, but closed down here. So make sure, that's what I say, make sure like you pay attention to that. But anyway, not to get too far off, but look right here. You have your inside bar. Here's your pullback that you was looking for. You got your pullback. So you got an inside bar right here, right? So if I were to take a setup on this play, where would I take it? The high of this inside bar. Boom, price open, took out the high, we back off to the races, right? So now we got in right here. This is our entry. 872, right? So we run it, right? We running. Let's say you took profit somewhere around here. No problem, right? We wait for the next pullback because this thing is on a trend. We got the 3-1, but we could get a 3-1-2 reversal or we could get a 3-1-2 down. This will be your entry, right? You took the high of this and now we going, right? So do you see how many times you can rinse and repeat this thing? I got in calls on Friday, by the way, and I did alert the group. So let's go over what I saw on Friday. Um, where's Lily from? Oh, here we go, right here. I said these are the contracts that I like. Lily 950 C's and 1,000 C contract, and these are the expirations. 2 daily, 2 day. I mean, 2 day hammer. Let me go on the 2 day chart. Uh, Wednesday as last week. Was it 2 day or was it on the daily? Sorry, I'm trying to find what I had on Friday. Weekly outside hammer. Weekly outside hammer. So, oh yeah, this is last week. So yeah. So look, last week we had a weekly outside hammer, right? Closed up here. So I liked the calls. All right. Now my trigger was 918. Where did I get that from? Um, because on the weekly above this, we had a hammer outside bar, and above the high of this actionable signals, that's where I would take my entry. All right. So entries on hammers, you want to take the high. Right. And in a minute, man, in a minute, I'm gonna go into the shooters. Those are the bearish actionable signals. But basically, what I'm getting at is this particular stock. I'm sure there's plenty of them that just constantly go up. But this particular stock has so many entry points. And I just showed you entries on a daily. We can go down to the 4 hour and come and we can plot way more entries just because it's smaller. Look, you got a 312 to the upside. Um, Failed two down right here, taking an entry to the upside, right? 312 to the upside, 212 to the upside, 212 to the upside, 312 to the upside. There's this stock is booming, and I'm keeping it in my rotation. So I'm just saying keep an eye on Lilly because next stop after 950, even is gonna go to 1,000. Now when I wish I could tell y'all. But yeah, so just keep that stock in rotation for sure. All right. So let me go back to the bearish actionable signals. All right. A shooter. Shooter is just a reverse of a hammer. So remember, with a hammer, this is what it looks like, right? It looks just like a hammer, right? The wick, the bottom, then you got the hammer looking thing. Now you go to a shooter, it's just opposite. More wick at the top, bears push this down. So just to read it, upper wick of the bar, at least twice the size of the body of the bar, can be red or green. But a bearish red shooter is more preferred and actionable. This is caused by bulls pushing price upward, but bears stepped in and drove price back down. These can be signs of a bearish reversal. All right. So, let me go find. And again, we've been. What's the stock? What's the stock that's been just falling? Trying to think. Oh, I know. Nike been plummeting lately. Let me see if Nike got some shooters. Um, Mara. Okay. Oh, Moderna. All right. Let me pull up Moderna. What time frame? Yeah, I need to know what time frame. Daily. It's got an outside shooter. I'm trying to find something more like just a regular shooter, but then I want to find something that's like easy to identify. I'm about to look on my here's an example right here. All right, so this right here, this is a shooter. You got your two down, this wick right here. It doesn't have to be a two down, by the way. It could be an inside bar, it could be an outside bar, but you have your longer wick at the top, looks like an upside down hammer. These are indications of price going bearish. Is it a guarantee? No. So don't just get in just because it's a shooter. Make sure you got full time frame continuity. Make sure you identify if price has been going down or if it's been going up. But this is what a shooter looks like. So just how we have our hammers that show signs of us going to the upside, like this one right here, right? If you look right here, we got a hammer, right? Longer wick at the bottom, got our body is at the top. And then over this would be calls. I would take calls. Got our hammer. Then you got your shooter. It's reverse. So everything is reverse. So price action would be reverse. My entries would be puts, not calls. Um, yeah, so it's bearish, not bullish like a hammer. It's pretty self-explanatory, right? Um, so I also want to, so another thing I want to go over for you guys is just simple entries because I know people still be like, okay, I got the candle types, but I still don't know where to enter. Now, again, this is fairly self-explanatory, but I'm gonna just break some of them down. I'm gonna break down the ones that I use the most. Oh yeah, so do you wait until candle closes? When you are trading the strat, your actionable signal or like your setup candle, you wait for that has to close, obviously, because you can't take it off another. So, like for example, when you look on um, this right here, again, I'm just giving you an example. This has to close in order for me to take entry on the next one. But your next candle, think about it. I'm gonna think about it like this, right? And I'm not being an a-hole when I say this. I want you to really like listen to me. If I waited for this candle, if this candle is moving right in my face for the next 4 hours, is moving, right? That's price action. That's money going into this. This is money that you could be making. So think about it like this. When it closes, that's it, right? So of course, you don't have to wait until it closes. You go off the trigger. So if your setup is a 132 right here, oops, right here, 132, right? If your setup is a 132, you see this 1-3 and you're like, okay, cool. I'm looking to take this 132 down, right? You know, man, as soon as it take out this low, I'm getting in. You don't want to wait for it to close. You want to get in right when it triggers. So once it cracks that 106, boom, I'm in there. You know what I mean? And you take it as, as far as as far as your target is. Now, one thing about it is the stops, because people want to know where would I place my stop. So two ways I like to answer where you would place your stop loss or where you would get out. And everyone is different when it comes to this. I would say this. Let me pull up like, no, this is cool. This is cool. I'll use this one. All right. Everyone's risk tolerance is very different. So me, I might be cool with losing $2,000-$3,000. Some people say, I might be cool with losing 500. Some people may say I want 10 or 20%. So that all depends on how much size you put on your positions, all of that. So the proper strat way for your stop is for a bullish setup. This is your setup candle, right? This is your trigger candle. I'm sorry. This is your trigger candle. So why is it your trigger candle? Because you're not entering off of this, you're entering off of this. This is a 1, 3, 2, right? Your stop is below the trigger candle. However, some people like to put their stop at 50% of the trigger candle. Everyone is different. Me personally, I go by dollar amount. So I'm like, yo, if I'm down a certain amount, I'm like, I'm out. I'll just find another re-entry. Excuse me, drink some water because I've been talking a lot. But some people is like some people they'd be like, you know what, if it breaks 50%, because think about it like this, right? Think about the range of this setup candle. 138 to 142, that's $4. I don't know how much money you're putting into your positions, but let's just say you got 100 contracts of this, right? Well, your 100 contracts being down all the way down to here. Let's say you got in, right? You took your trigger, or let's say you got in on a lower time frame somewhere down here, right? And then price starts to reverse. Well, this from here to here, that amount may differentiate from mine. Mine might be down 2K. Yours might be down 20K. I don't know. It depends. So that's why I'm just showing you where you would put your stops, but you know how much money that is based on what type of risk you put on your positions. But these are the two ways. So below below the trigger candle, or 50%. This is in a bullish scenario. In a bearish scenario, I'll show you. Let me get rid of this just so I don't get. Does that make sense though for you guys wondering about stop placement? All right, and so for a bearish scenario, if you look right here, you got a 2-1-2 down. So you would just do the high of the bull of the setup or the trigger candle or 50%. I'm saying, and I'm just eyeballing the 50%. I mean, you can do that on your own. So, like, if I'm looking for a 2-1-2 and my trigger is obviously the low here, I would take this trigger, take it down. But if price starts to go 50%, you may say, let me cut it. Or you might say, if it goes all the way to the high of that entry candle, I'm getting out. So again, based on your risk tolerance, based off how much you want to cut. And there's nothing wrong with finding a re-entry. You know, here's a nice example right here. Look at this 1-3-2 setup. You got 1-3, you're looking to go 2 up, right? My setup candle is right here. My trigger candle is right here. Let's just say, this is not 50%, but that's about like 50%. See how it almost went down to the stop, but it didn't? Like, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Some people like to do 50%, and then just find a reentry just in case it does get all the way down to the bottom, because that does happen, you know? Um, so just want to go ahead and throw that out there as far as the stops. Stop above or below trigger. Cool, cool. All right, so I want to break down some more like simple setups. So just when you see let me just break these down because some people still look at these and they're like, what is this? 2-1-2 bearish reversal versus a 2-1-2 bearish continuation. There is a difference. If you look right here, the reason why this says reversal is because price started 2 up, meaning it started bullish. But then the reversal part comes where that next 2 candle was down. Same with 2-2. So you got 2-1-2 because you got the inside bar, 2-2, no inside bar. But the reversal comes where the next directional candle went bearish or bullish. So let me show you what that looks like on the chart. So right here, can somebody tell me what this is right here? This 2-1-2, 2-1-2. Is that continuation or reversal? I might have, yeah, reversal for sure. Whoever said continue, definitely not. Reversal for sure. Reason being, again, bullish 2 bar up. Why is it a 2 up? Because it opened in this range, took out the high, and closed above where it opened, right? You got your inside bar. But the next directional bar it reversed back to the downside. So when you hear somebody saying uh possible 2-1-2 reversal, or I'll show you, let me see, let's look for a 2-2 reversal. You got 3-1-2 reversal right there. Sorry, I'm looking for a 2-2 reversal to the downside. Um, Sorry, I just want to be able to find it on the chart to show y'all. Yeah, why do I not see? I see the bullish ones. All right, let me go down to a smaller time frame. And I'll probably find one on a smaller time frame. But what I was looking for was a 2-2 bearish rev on this particular stock, but it's looking like oh, here we go right here. Sorry, y'all. Right here, 2-2 bearish reversal. So this is 2 up, 2 down. You say, where would I get in? The low of the 2 up candle for a bearish setup. So you would get in at yeah, at the low. All right. So when you guys are looking at this right here, 2-2 bearish reversal, you're getting in at the low of the bullish. So if we're bullish and price looks like it's about to go down, you're taking the low of the bullish. Vice versa. Vice versa. Bullish reversal, you're taking the high. Right here. Little example right here. Right here. The high. Where am I at? Right here. All right. You got your 2 down. and then price ran to up because it took out the high of that bearish candle. All right, pretty simple right here. 2-2 reversal, 2 up, and then you got your 2 down. All right, pretty self-explanatory. Now, same with the 3 with the so now a continuation like this right here is just a 3-1-2 continuation. Why? Because you got your 2 downs. This is a bearish 3. And because price is already going down, this next 2 down is a continuation. So this, let me see, is it on here? They don't have the 3-1-2 continuation, but they got the 2-1-2. So let me try to find a 2-1-2 continuation right here. Perfect. So price is already 2 down. If this were to go 2 up, meaning it opened here and took out the high of this 1, that would be a 2-1-2 reversal. But because the first bar is here, your trigger bar is bearish, and the next one went 2 down, it's a continuation of what price action was already doing. You got another one, 2 down, inside, 2 down, 2-1-2. Is that making sense? So when you guys are seeing the plays, like you can gather what I mean. You know where the entry is. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. These I do not look for. These I'm not looking for. So yeah, it's I don't look for none of these. Because continuations, I prefer a pullback so I can get in on a reversal or the actionable signal. Continuation bars are kind of like it's almost like you chasing. Maybe there are other stratters in the universe that there's a way that you can take continuations, but from what I've been taught with the strat, you don't really get in on the continuation. Because it's almost like you chasing, right? Because you don't have a proper entry, a proper trigger. All right. So I just want to make sure you guys got that. Let me see. Let me make sure there's not nothing that I'm missing when it comes to these strat candle types. And then the last thing I'll go over, this isn't really part of the candles, but I'm gonna break this down. Can a continuation be used to stay in a play longer? Yes and no. You want to watch the higher time frames because let me show you guys something real quick. I'm gonna go on Eli Lilly, right? And I showed you guys how bullish Eli Lilly has been since like May on a weekly time frame. So where we at? All right, cool. So I'm gonna show you something real quick. If you look at this, right, this shows you definitely should be taking this to the upside, right? But look, let me show y'all something else. Because some of y'all be on some of these lower time frames where they call it the ghetto. They be like, oh, yeah, that's the ghetto. And this is why. Let's just be honest. How many of y'all keep in mind? Don't forget this right here, this green, this is that weeks. Uh this is the price action within those last few weeks since May. Be honest, how many of y'all would have got shook out with all this red? How many of y'all would have been like, "Oop, there go a red bar, let me get out. Oop, price went down, let me get out." Let's be honest. Most of y'all would have got shook out like, "Oh shoot, it's a red bar, let me get out." I've been there before. Like when I first started trading, I was on these ghetto time frames, as they call. I was on these ugly time frames. But let me throw you guys a little small psychological gem right here. Two ways you can fix this. Two ways you fix this problem. One, get off that. Don't monitor. I wouldn't monitor my trades on the lower time frames because psychologically it's gonna psych you out because you're gonna be like, oh my God, let me zoom in. There's a red candle. There's a red candle. There's a red candle. But what if you monitor this on even a 1 hour? You see how the red starts to eliminate? So let me show something to you real quick. I'm gonna take this right here from this bar. I'm gonna mark it let's mark it pink. And I'm gonna take another one and I'm gonna mark it all the way up here. All right, I want y'all to pay attention to something. Pay attention to this real quick. between this pink bar and this pink bar, these are hourly candles, okay? That means from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5, 6 hours worth of bullish price action, okay? Keyword bullish, which means price continue to go up every hour right here. Okay? Now watch this. When we go down to the hood time frame, someone would have got out right here because it went red. But look how much you missed out on. So from here, 907, you missed out on about 10 more dollars. But look, let's go even worse because some of y'all be on the 5 minute. I mean, that's like the trap house. Like, now this is ugly right here. Like, you this red, the whole chat would have got out. Y'all would have got in and said, "Oop, there go red. Oop, there go red. Oop, let me get out. Oh, what's going on? Oh, my P&L. Oh, I can't pay my bills. Oh man, the car note gonna be late. Let me get out. Let me get out. Let me get out." Right? Like the average person, they jumping out of all of that. Get off of that 5 if you trade in this strat. I'm telling you now. Because what's gonna happen is when you look at these higher time frames, you'll realize nothing told you to get out. Where's my pink bars go? Uh-oh. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Nothing tells you to get out. When you get in here, if you would have got, let's say you got in on this 212, can anybody tell me real quick? This right here, reversal or continuation? Yeah, reversal for sure. Reversal, easy, reversal. So if you got in on this 212 reversal right here, you can look at the hourly and be like, it's no reason for me to get out. No reason for me to get out. Next hour, no reason to get out. So again, make sure, last thing, or two things I want to get at. Make sure that you are not getting out because you're watching your P&L. Because some of y'all will see a red candle and you'll see a P&L drop, and you're like, oh man, my money is dropping. My bad, let me turn this camera back on. Which y'all like, oh man, my money is dropping. Let me get out. But you got to remember, the same reason you got in got to be the same reason you got out. So if you got in because it is 212, you can't get out just because you saw your P&L drop. Because look at this right here. Look right. Let me zoom in. Price. Price right here, it went up. Let's say it went up. Let's say you up $500 right here. Oops. Let's say you up $500 right here, right? Price came back down. You going to get back out? Why? Because you was watching your P&L and you went from 500 to 450. So you like, you know what? Let me get out because I'm losing money. But look at the next candle. Your stop loss wasn't hit because it's either over here 50% or you at you below your trigger candle. So again, do you this if price is telling you to get in, make sure price tells you to get out. All right. So now the next hourly candle was like, nah, you should have stayed in. Why'd you get out? Because you're P&L. Now you mad because you in the chat and you're like, oh man, I got out just for price to take off. Was it the charts that showed you? Or did you get out because of emotion? Is you shaking? You get what I'm saying? So and let me just say, like, when you practicing this stuff, practice on a smaller scale, whether you're paper trading or whether you practicing with like 1 or 2 contracts or a smaller stock, right? You don't got to practice with the big money stocks. You can practice with something smaller, like a small cap. But look at when you switch to the higher time frames, it shows you can stay in. And then you already know you go to the 4. What was we at? Oh yeah. Oops. Hold on. When you go to the 4 hour, you see less red. When you go to the daily, less and less red. And obviously, when you go to the weekly, damn near, excuse my language, dang near no red on these weekly candles. We haven't had a red week on Eli Lilly since, and really that's a fail to, yeah, it's a fail to up though. But we haven't had any red weeks since April. The very last week of April was the last time we had a red week. So make sure, again, if price gets you in, price got to take me out, not my P&L, Not because I'm feeling antsy, not because I'm shaking. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, yeah, Sam. That's like some more, you know what I'm saying? That's some more as far as the strat, I use strat only for options. I don't use it for futures, but that's another combo. So another thing, I want to give you another hack or trick, and it's a small but highly effective trick to fix your uh why people get shaken out, right? Watch this. This is a little psychological thing. Okay, so we broke down um let me go to a smaller time frame real quick. Let me go down to like the 4 hour. All right, so looking at this, uh when your candles uh when your candles are smaller, just double click the axis right here. So like for example, I'm gonna give an example. See how when I click the hour and they all look like that, go to your axis on the side, double click, and boom, it should. Or you can just move the axis like that too. But once you double click, it should switch. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all another little easy hack right here. Um, change the colors of your candles because let's be real. Like I just said, when you see the red candle, you start to panic. Let's just be honest. How many people in here, when they see a red candle, they panic? Because I was there. Like, oh shit, they go red candle. Let me get out. Ooh. Most of y'all, and that's cool. That's why we gonna fix this. Yeah, most people. So what you do, you can go here, right? Make sure you watch. You go here. You go to Strat Assistant, and you hit the gear on the settings, and you can change the colors of your bars. So if I want my two up bar to be blue, I think it's this one. No, that's the arrow. So if I want my two up bar to be blue, nope, that's the number. Hold on real quick. What color was this? Oh yeah, green. My bad. That's the number. I'm sorry. Down here, bar color. If I want my two bars instead of them green and red, I think it's this though. Hold on, blue. Nope, that's the arrow. Damn, why do I do that? I think what you do is you change it right here. So my bar colors for the strat assistant are blue. And then you could change the numbers too. But if I want uh my directional bars to be blue, and then oh, here we go. Sorry, I messed it. Hold on. I think this is it. Two down to be nah, that's just the color. I'm trying to figure out how did I change the color of these bars on my thing, but I do end up changing the colors because I feel like that could help with you psychologically. Uh, my bad, y'all. Bear with me. I'm trying to figure this part of the class out. It might be on it might be over here. It might be on this right here, candle type. Uh, because I know like sometimes when I turn my strat off and I just want to see stuff, I'll hide the numbers in the candles, and what I'll do is my chart settings right here, I'll change them here. So like when I'm trading futures and other stuff, like I change my color. So like for example, my red bars are well, I'm fine now, like with as long as I've been in trading, but like I might want them blue. You know what I mean? I might want, the body to be pink. I don't know. And I know what is what, but at least when I see red, I don't panic if that makes sense. So, but it is within this in the settings. Um, I have a if you guys want, I don't want to spend too much time and waste your time here, but if you guys want, if you go to the masterclass and if you go right here, excuse me, go right here to right here, setting up your charts the psychologically correct way. I go over how to break down or how to change the candle colors. And I break down why it's super important. But anyway, so let me just ask, for the most part, from what you've gotten from the class, would you say like this has helped? So now you guys can understand like, you know, what's what the candles mean, the importance of them, where you would enter when you see 2U, what that means, why we like to fill two down candles, um, why we enter here versus there. Like, I just want to make sure because I know, and I'm gonna drop this recording inside of the chat because I know that yeah, sorry. Yeah, so for everybody that's new, I will drop this recording in the chat. I'm down to I need to get to my kids, but I'm down to do Q&A for about 15, 20 minutes as far as this goes. No. So yellow bars on any time frame is consolidation. Yellow bars on any yellow, I mean, inside is inside. It doesn't matter the time frame. 5 minute, 30 second, monthly, 6 month, it doesn't matter. Consolidation is consolidation. So the time frame doesn't even matter. Um, Somebody said, is there any part of the strat you can use with futures? I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know because I never tried. I mean, let me not say that. Let me not say I never tried because then how would I know? I just know that with futures, price is too volatile and you'll get stopped out a whole lot. Like strat with options, perfect. Like now, am I saying that it does not work? I don't know because I haven't really just broken it down. Like, let me try to implement, because like, look, I'm gonna pull up NQ. Oops, hold on, let me get out of here. Oops. Let me pull up NQ real quick. We turn off the strat. Do you kind of see like this is a 4 hour? I'll be on a 4 hour a lot. But like if with futures, it's a whole lot of wicks, more wicks involved. The other thing too, the reason why I don't use the strat with futures is because remember with the strat, your entry is based on that last candle's close and the next candle's um you're taking the trigger off the last candle's close. So like for example, right here, uh like for example, if this was options, you take this 2-1-2, right? So this is closed, you take the trigger. But with futures, because price moves so fast, that the volatility can stop you out before it goes to where it needs to go. The volatility of futures is just I don't now the one thing that I use actionable signals. So for example, if I'm trading NQ or ES, I might say, okay, SPY ended with a daily hammer, or SPY has a weekly hammer, right? So that might let me know ES, which is SPY futures, or NQ, which is QQQ futures. I might say, okay, we probably bullish on NQ. That might be the only way that I use. You get what I'm saying? So, but with futures, no, I don't use this strat. Where could we get the recording? This recording will go, I'll show you guys right now. This recording will go probably in this masterclass channel, but for sure right here. Strat candle types. I'm putting it right here for sure. All right, I got another for you guys that want to that don't know how much time to buy on contracts. I'm gonna answer that. Give me 2 minutes. But yes, this recording is gonna go because this is what it was for, strat candle type. So this recording for show. I should have it, if not tonight, tomorrow, but it will be going right here. All right. Now, for everyone who wants to know how much time do I buy, right here, I'm gonna give you, make sure you save this or you can do it on your phone in the active options channel. You go to oops. Go to the pinned section and then right here, time frame, triggers, and options expiration. Save this. So if I'm taking something, and also there's a little tweak I want to tell you guys about this, but this should help answer some of your questions. If your entry, let's say your play is on a 2-1-2 daily, let's say you got a 2-1 set up on a daily, you want to at least buy 1 to 2 weeks out. Reason being is because price consolidated for a day. So which means it might break out for a week, or it might take a week for it to reach its full potential. If price consolidated for a week, if we got an inside week and we take that trigger, you want to buy 2 to 4 weeks out. Here's my take on this. This is also based on your trading plan, because if your plan, let me show you something real quick. Let me pull up something real quick. Let me pull up Eli Lilly on a daily. All right, so give me a second. Let me find something. Tuesday. Sorry, 1 second. I'm trying to find a good example, and I think this is a good example. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. All right, let's look at this example. Wait, hold on a second. I'm trying to find Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Mhm. Sorry, give me 1 second. I want to be able to break this example down. Oh, here we go, right here. All right, let me break this down for you guys real quick. Let me get rid of all of these lines too. So hypothetically, right, even though we live in reality, let's say you got this 3-1 setup right here, right? So you know if we going bullish, we're gonna take the high of this. Look at what day this is. This is that Thursday, June 20th. You got Friday. I'm on a daily time frame, by the way. So Friday comes around. We know we taking the high of this candle. If if my Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. So Monday, the new week opens up, right? If my target is the previous week's high, which is right here, right? I'm like, okay, I'm targeting previous week's high. If my target is there, do I really need weeks out if that's not my plan? So again, back to this. I'm on the daily. Do I really need to buy a couple weeks out if that's not my plan? Again, and I emphasize that because that might not be my trading plan. I might say, you know what, I just want to take this to the previous week's high. Now, granted, it doesn't have to get there, but I think what that chart is basically saying is you want to have enough time for it to get there. But you don't have to hold it that long, because think about it. This happened in 2 days. This happened in 2 days. Monday, Tuesday, we took out the previous week's high. I'm done. So I can cut those contracts. The reason why I tell you guys to buy weeklies and further out is because weeklies pay more because it's higher risk, because the contract is getting ready to expire. So for example, if I bought a contract on Eli Lilly tomorrow and it expires on Friday, and Eli Lilly moves like $5 tomorrow, I'm probably going to hit 75 to 100% on my contract. Will I hit will I hit 75 to 100% on my contract that ends next week? No, because you give and take. So it's like when you think about, and again, I don't want to get too heavy into the Greeks. You can go study that, or I'll drop a video. But when you think about the Greeks and like how, when you think about like the delta and the gamma and like how the money moves per contract, the more time you have, that's to your advantage insurance wise, but you don't make as much because what you're getting from them is more time. So they say, okay, I'll give you less money as it moves over time. But but if you have less time, which means it expires this week, that's more risk that you're taking on. But they're saying, okay, it's riskier for you. So I'm gonna give you the contract for cheaper, but I'm also pay you a little bit more because you're not buying that much time anyway. You get that kind of makes sense. So it's like the more time in insurance, you might make less as you would with the weekly because it's less risky to buy more time. You got more insurance when you buy more time. But when you buy less time, it's more risky, but it can pay. That's why y'all see me saying like the Amazon contracts I'm in, I'll get Google contracts. I have time, but I'm also getting the weeklies because if it does run up and does pop, I'm gonna get that the bigger, faster money, if that makes sense. And then I got the swing if I want to continue to carry it over, or in case it doesn't get there quite yet, I got time for it to get there. All right. So hopefully that makes some sense. Again, I'm gonna answer some more questions. I just wanted to. Can I recommend a prop firm? You can go to the futures channel. They're talking about futures and prop firms. In fact, Kevin, you can go here, go to this right here. We did a masterclass on right here in April with Advent. And he goes over, I think, Apex, Top Step, but go to the futures channel and you can speak to them about futures prop firms. I never used it. Prop firm, I fund my own account, so I never really tripped off the prop firms. Can you give a quick walkthrough on the time frames you always use when selecting a trade? Ray, you can actually, I mean, I could tell you I use the 4 hour and the daily most of the time, but you can just look right here. You can go to my plays and you can kind of look and see yourself, right? Um, this is on a 2 day inside daily bar, um, weekly level, flips the 4 hour green. Um, weekly. A lot of times I'll put which look inside 4 hour, two daily him. So you can kind of look and see. But just to give you in a nutshell, like 4 hour to weekly is kind of like where I like to base my trades. But it's rare that I get, like I said, nothing less than a 4 hour. Nothing less. Um, what's the best time frame to use for day trading? I say the 1 and the 4 hour. I like to say 1 and the 4 hour. If I'm day trading and having entry on the 4 hour or a day, would you recommend managing the trade on the 1 hour? Yeah, I would say 1 hour and up. 1 hour and up. But it depends on your goal too. It's like, let me give you an example, Samantha. Samantha, are you still on? I want to answer this. She ain't on. Yeah, okay, cool. So think about this, Samantha. If I'm just gonna give you an example, right? Let me look for an example, right? All right, here we go. Good example right here. This is the 4 hour. Okay. If I get on a 2-1-2 right here, right? But let's say your profit goal is right here. Again, depending on your plan, you may say, okay, I'm getting in here and my profit goal is 841 or previous week's whatever, right? So when you get in, your goal may be right here. So don't be mad. I mean, don't be too upset if it runs higher because again, that's not your plan. Your plan was to take it to 840, 841. Now, what you can do is they have what you so call runners. If you get at least two contracts, you could say, you know what, I'm gonna take mine to profit. I mean, take it to my target. And just in case it runs higher, I'll let the other one go. If it doesn't, I've already secured most of my profits with one contract, and you want to make sure you don't lose too much off that last one. That's why when you hear the group saying stuff about runners, that's what they mean. They've taken profits and they letting the rest run. So hopefully that makes sense. Uh Starting out, do you recommend swing trades over daily? It's hard for me to answer that because it depends on you, your schedule. Some of you guys may work a 9 to 5, so swing trading is better. I don't know what you do throughout your day. Some people like swing trading. I'll tell you like this, what I like to do. I'm a day trader, but I like to swing overnight because a lot of the stocks movement happens over the night. There's a statistic, I might say it wrong. It's like how is it? Like 80% of the time, it's something like 80% of a stock's movement happens overnight 80% of the time, or something like that. So it's like a lot of stocks, they gap up overnight. especially the big movers, they gap up. So something like an Avgo or Eli Lilly or say like a big tech stock or a big chip stock, it's going to move the most overnight. Stocks are designed to go up. This is going to move the most overnight. So when it goes, I will swing something overnight. That's why you'll see a lot of my setups will come at the end of the day. And I'm like, look, this got a nice setup, XYZ. I'm going to swing overnight into the next day. And then if it goes our way, it gaps up. And what I'll do is I'll either close my position at open if it's gapped up enough or I hit my goal, or or I'll close most of my position at open and see if it runs more throughout the day. So it just depends on your plan. Yeah, they be starting to print in the morning. Yeah, you can do both. People do both. Uh trade do we have a section for people who have jobs can only swing trade? I mean, not really. I mean, I try to highlight if I'm like long term if I'm swinging, or I try to highlight like my price target. So I'm like, okay, if I'm getting, or what you can do to help you, like I say, if you look at that trigger uh chart right here, this can kind of help you determine just in case I miss it. But like, you can kind of one thing that'll help you guys with staying in plays is again having a something in mind too. Like, okay, if Thursday, wait, oh, this is all 4 hour. Sorry, hold on, I'm trying to find something. So you might this is Tuesday. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna just use this as an example, right? You might have a price target of say right here, right? The high of this is 779, right? But you got in off this failed two down, right? So you got your two up, took the high right here, boom, got in at 756. So you may say, okay, based on how much this stock tends to move a day, your price target is over here, 780. You say, okay, this stock tends to move about $10 a day, right? On a good day, it might do 15, $20. But average may move $10 a day. And there's an indicator called SATY, and it tells you how much a stock. In fact, let me show you guys right now. Oh, here you go, right here. It's called SATI ATR levels. And what it does is it tells you how much a stock, this extra stuff, I don't know how to get this stuff on. But anyway, it tells you the day's range on Eli Lilly right now is $12 a day. ATR stands for average true. Oh no, my bad. The day's range, average true range is 18. And this tells you how much it did of its average true range. So average true range, how much it moves a day? About $18.68. Today it moved $12.69 from open to close. So it moved 67, 68% of its average true range. That's what it's telling you. Again, SATI ATR levels. I'll show you again. SATY. As soon as you type in Sati, it's going to pop up right there. All right. And I'm sure there's a way you can, I kind of got this stuff like already at the top of my head, so I don't really be needing it. But what you do, so what you do is you might say, you know what, I know this thing been moving 10 or $12 a day, but I need from my entry point at 755 to 780, that's $25. I might need me a couple of days. So if I bought this on a Tuesday, I might say, let me buy next week's just in case, but let me also buy weekly in case it runs up. And as you see, Tuesday and Wednesday, boom, got to my trigger or got to my price target. So then you don't even need the next week if you don't want, because you done made the quick bread off the weekly contract. So again, it's all based on your plan too, how much time you buy. Um, but yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, some people have multiple accounts. They have like a swing trade account and they have like a day trade account. Me, I like to swing overnight because I can go about my day. You know what I mean? But yeah, uh I cannot stop panic selling. The day range is what it moved today. Yeah, so any other questions? I hope this class helped y'all again. Man, we've been on here like 2.5 hours, so I feel like we went over quite a bit. How good are the SATI ATR entries? I don't use them. I use strat entries. I don't use them because I think his are like off previous week or previous day highs and lows, and that's not always accurate because something could take out a previous day high in reverse. Some could take out a previous day low in reverse. So I'm not really into breakout trading. I think those days are over. I think that was big in like 2021, 2022, but nah, it's not accurate. I wouldn't do that. So, but yeah, anybody that's on this, man, listen, make sure you go back and watch this recording. Study, man. If you're new on here, listen, go through this. I made this for you guys. This is take the time and learn this stuff. What's the strat? What's the universal truths? What's the candle types? The actionable signals. Don't just think you know the strat just because you know what a setup is in a combo. This is not just the strat. This just tells you where the entries and stuff are. But if you really want to get good, you'll study all of this stuff. It doesn't mean you have to spend hours upon hours and spend 6 hours a day staring at it. Nah, but go through it. Don't cheat yourself. Don't shortchange yourself. Because some of y'all do. Y'all be like, I looked at that. Oh, yeah, I don't really get it. Oh, okay, trading don't work. It's a scam. And then you asking for cancellation. I'm like, okay, it's not gonna hurt me. You know what I'm saying? Take the time out, man. You owe yourself, right? Do it for yourself. Do it for your children. You know, like they say, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you could put your all into everything else, whether it's watching TV, shopping, clubbing, it's an extra stream of income. Learn it, master it. You know what I'm saying? You'll be surprised at how far you get with actually putting the time in with this stuff. Let me just shout out a couple people real quick. Like when you go to these win section, look at the people that's consistent. It's from putting time in. It ain't from guessing. Like Strat Jones, he be in here just about every day. Taylor, me and him did a one-on-one yesterday. JR, of course, he in here. Jay Martin, he been consistent. You know what I'm saying? Who is that really text fly guy? This one, real consistent. Where is Jess at? Man, Jess, look at this. 580%. Tap in. She be studying. She be on the Zooms. Nav too. Jess went crazy on Carvana. I was trying to find that Carvana. But look at this person right here. First 2 days in the chat, already up almost $3,000 in 2 days. Kathy, this lady right here, she in me and JR's group. She popping in with a win every other day. Jessica, AMD, almost 200%. You know what I'm saying? Take the time out. Pop in on the Zoom. Watch the replay. This one really stands out. She $2,600 today alone. Up 14% on an account. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at this. All time since trading. Look at this. This is a nice bullish candle right here. Just put the time in. She be on the Zooms. She asks questions. This could be y'all for sure. So anyway, I don't want to bore y'all with no TED talk, no motivational speech. I just want y'all to understand, man, that y'all all could be doing this stuff. You know what I mean? You just got to put the time in. So anyways, I will have this recording up by tomorrow. So y'all can review it. And man, I will see y'all at the beach or the bank. See y'all, get y'all some dinner, hang out with the family, and I'll see if there's some setups tonight. We already in certain swings for tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys for even showing up because at the end of the day, this gonna help you guys in the future. So I'm gonna see y'all though. Go ahead and end this.